Okay. Uh, I had a little pop-up there that was reading about moderation and that sort of thing since I have live chat going. Um, anyway, as you can see here, I just want to do a short live stream. As you can see, I'm wearing my some of my Christmas stuff, and I've got the lions there in the background. I'll get into that in a minute. But as far as the Red Wings go, I'll be doing more Red Wings stuff here probably after the playoffs. But let me just say one thing about the Red Wings. Uh, it's a nightmare to watch. Their goaltending is horrendous, and that's all I've got to say about that. I'll talk more about that on Red Wing videos. But I love this stocking cap. It's nice and warm. There we go. There's my, it's a pillowcase. I got a bedroom set, and I'm going to be using that lion there, one of the pillowcases for my background. So anyway, let me just get into it here, and just uh, you know share some thoughts about the Lions so far in 2022. Um, Personally, whether or not they make the playoffs, I think um, they are going ahead of expectations. Uh, I want to see them basically more than anything. I do want to see them, uh, even if they don't go to the playoffs, if they can somehow just knock out the Packers, definitely on the last game of the season. Maybe the Packers will shoot themselves in the foot this coming Sunday, but if not, if the Lions can, and that's one thing about the Carolina game that I'm going to get into in a minute, um, is what I've been screaming about and yelling about for forever, ever since the Lions went into started with a dome stadium. Because I remember watching the Lions play in Tiger Stadium um, and play in all the elements, and they were a different kind of team. I mean, they were able to play in all the elements. They were tough. They were brutal. They may not have had the best records in the world, but um, playing the Detroit Lions, you came out of that's why they called it the black and blue division. All four teams: Lions, Bears, Vikings, and Packers. You had the purple people eater, the Vikings front four. The Lions had a tremendous front four. So did the Packers, and so did the Bears. And they basically beat each other up um, back in the day. But ever since the dome stadiums came around, it's like it's almost like the Lions became soft. They're good indoors, but when you get them out in the wind, the rain, the snow, the mud, um, I mean, even Barry Sanders. I remember the game. They were the one game they were playing the Washington team. Um, I won't use their former name. Um, but it was a mud bowl. Barry Sanders couldn't do anything because he was not um, he just couldn't play the elements, and basically the Washington team just ran the ball down their throats because they had I believe they had John Riggins at the time, and he just mowed through their defense like they were butter, and that's the problem. What I'm getting at is the elements in Carolina. They were it was like a cement. There's a lot of people talking about JMO and why he wasn't playing, and it was like playing. I watched that game twice. I slowed things down and I looked at it, but basically, from what I understand, that turf there was just so cold. Uh, it was the coldest day for football in Carolina history. But usually it's wet and slippery and still risk for. Um, okay, um, yeah. Somebody's just whatever. I'm furious. Anyway, but So that's why I didn't see much of JMO. I'm expecting, and really, the Lions have better do this. I think JMO is ready. They say he has a tweaked knee or something. Um, and if that's the case, first of all, even if he didn't have a tweaked knee, um, just in those conditions, it's so easy to re-aggravate um, his previous injury, and and then you could be looking at JMO being out for what, all of next year again. So use them when they can. I doubt that you'll see them in the Green Bay game because it's going to be the same kind of conditions. So they're going to have to figure out a way to beat Green Bay on the ice. So they can take away a lot of things from the Carolina game and see what they did wrong in the conditions. Bring bring that knowledge into the Green Bay game and shut Sharon Rogers down. Yeah, Sharon. I'll emphasize that. I can't stand the guy. He needs to sit down and shut up, as far as I'm concerned. I'm tired of him. I'm tired of his cocky ass attitude. And the things he has said about the Lions in the last few weeks is unacceptable. And so the Lions need to learn from the Carolina game what they can do and what they can't do. Bring that into Green Bay. But that, I'm jumping ahead here. They need to take care of business at home. They can do that with JMO in the dome, as part of their. So get him the ball more. They obviously got to get Jamal Williams going. They need a good time-consuming plays. They need to grind up the clock to make sure Justin Fields is not on the field all day because that's going to wear down their defense. So they need to eat clock, keep Justin Fields sitting on the bench while they are chewing up all the clock, and that's how they're going to beat Chicago. Um, they can't. I mean, I know they beat them last time, but it was like 31-30. They can't have another one of those kind of games against Chicago because um, they could lose that. They lose to Chicago, basically. That's it. And then I'll still want them to shut down Green Bay anyway. But all in all, the Lions are making progress, and I think after the Carolina game, what you're going to see in the off season is there's going to be some players that people are going to be shocked, but there are going to be some players who are now Lions who will no longer be Lions. Um, and it's very clear. I'm not going to go and name names, but only Coach Campbell knows that. I think he's got a good idea. That's why I like Campbell. When he first came in, one of the first things they did is they cut off a lot of the dead meat. And I was one of these who supported the T.J. Hawkinson trade, because for number one, they weren't using them, and for the price they were paying for him. And then in the game, the second game against Minnesota, Hawkinson had some drops that should have been catches. So uh, yeah, so they've had their reasons, and they did the right thing by trading Hawkinson. Um, and they're gonna evaluate a lot of things. And again, this is all on Coach Campbell. It's only in his head. He probably has a good idea on what's going to be happening at the end of the year, but he's going to wait until how these next two games play out, whether or not they make the playoffs, and then when all the calculating is done, money and that sort of thing. Um, there's going to be some people going for sure. They're going to bring in new people. And as far as the last thing I want to touch on briefly is in the draft, I think it should be heavily defense oriented. Um, Defensive lineman, linebacker, secondary, and they do need a good, solid backup quarterback, which they can either get in late in the draft, somebody who is mobile, and I'll do okay. Um, and yeah, I'll do I'll do another video strictly on why they need a good mobile backup quarterback, specifically for that. But those are they're gonna go more defense because it's pretty obviously what they need to do, and um, and it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to pick up some good offensive linemen, even though they've got depth there. They may, I'm talking about price here and salary cap. Anyway, well, that's about it. I'm going to do my podcast here in a few seconds. I'm going to talk specifically about the playoffs in both the NFC and the AFC, throw in the Lions there a little bit, but mainly more about the NFL in particular. So my handle for my podcast channel, as well as my cat channel, something totally, the handles are in the description below. So if you're not subscribed to those channels, go to the handles and the links that are there already, and be sure to subscribe to those, and I will talk to you next time. Have a good day.